to keep it. Come on.
Good evening.
I keep
It is now 6:30, and it's Monday, September the 22nd, and I'd like to welcome you all to the Committee of the Whole. And Madam Clerk is not here to call the roll, but everyone's present.
I can't find my.
I'd like to open up the meeting with asking the Controller and/or Mayor to get us started.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. First of all, I want to recognize everyone who's been working on the 2026 budget. Since the Controller's Office began this process in April, way back while state legislators were still working through changes on how cities will be funded. The council members, the Controller's Office, and all the department heads have been working hard to create a budget that provides the best possible services to the public, businesses, and industry within the fiscal constraints of state laws passed from 2008 to the present. I was going to show you something. Hold on. Just from this last legislative session alone, these are all the different laws that went into effect that affect how cities and counties are budgeted. So a lot of changes, a lot of moving parts. Killed a tree there. So our focus will be on people, places, and things with an eye first to public safety, then to infrastructure, and then community services. The 400-plus people who work for the city are our greatest asset. The places where they do their work and the places of public visits are also key to our future success. And finally, the things, the tools, and equipment we use to provide services must also be maintained. The city has a strong balance sheet that allows it to weather good times and bad, years of plenty and years of want. There have been more years of want since property tax caps were enacted in 2010, which has prevented over $120 million from flowing into city coffers. But we have survived, mostly through staffing reductions, deferred building maintenance, and years of no pay increases for civilian, non-union employees. Deferred building maintenance is catching up with us, especially in the Parks Department, which you'll hear more about later tonight. Even so, a lot of great things are happening. State dollars from Ready 1.0 made it possible to demolish the former 100,000 square foot retail structure that stood vacant for 6 years and construct new in-demand luxury apartments at 6th and Main. That project was the cornerstone of the private match that led to the award of $25 million from the Lilly Endowment to continue downtown revitalization. The Lilly Endowment will be matched with other private investment, bringing over $100 million in redevelopment to Main Street. With 12,000 people working in Richmond and Wayne County who don't live here, it's imperative to our successful future that we welcome new housing projects. It's also imperative to our future finances as the state has changed the laws again so that cities will become less dependent upon property taxes and more dependent on income taxes to provide the services to the community. As a result of Senate Enrolled Act 1 and other new legislation, cities will see a decline of revenue they use to fund things like police officers, firefighters, parks, administrative staff, property maintenance, etc., unless they enact new taxes that the state has been making available since the 1980s. The first fund affected by recent legislation is the revenue from auto excise, CVET, FIT, etc., which dropped $1.4 million for 2026, from $6.28 million to $4.86 million. These are dollars that roll into the general fund revenue. And the general fund how much time and effort we spent on working on the budget. These are just some of the documents we created. Most of you have access to electronic files. But these are all the documents that passed by the mayor's office and the controller's office to get the budget to this point. Other changes to the general fund include tax caps that continue to reduce potential revenue, but in 2026 will be reduced by $5.9 million. Part of that $5.9 million is a reduction of $1.2 million in revenue to the Parks Department. One part of the attempt to balance the 2026 budget is not offering pay increases for either elected officials and civilian non-union employees in 2026. You likely heard that the county is doing likewise for all of their employees. They face some of the same issues. Also, the mayor's office and Board of Works are changing some positions around from full-time to part-time and reviewing all of the positions as they become open. We're also rebidding the city building cleaning contract and other contracts to reduce costs and increase efficiencies. We discovered one contract that has been in place since 2009 has been automatically rolling over every year since. We're looking under every rug and doormat to find savings wherever we can. Other departments are continuing to defer property repairs and capital improvements that you will hear about over the next 2 nights, but I'll let them share their plans with the Common Council. The largest increases in this budget are in personnel who are represented by collective bargaining units. Police are still negotiating for 2026, so we don't have a new number for them yet. Fire is slated for a 4.5% increase that equates to $955,640 increase. AFSCME for Park, Street, and Sanitary negotiations are closing in on a 3% increase in their negotiations. Increases to the street department are $34,216, Parks $16,749, and Sanitary $102,915. Transit, the other collective bargaining unit, is in the final step of the Baker-Tilly salary survey, but with a corresponding reduction in full-time employees, you actually see a reduction there of $8,415. Personnel costs for the police department is slated to increase from $8.54 million to $9.59 million. But $400,000 of that increase is funded by Richmond Community Schools for the 4 SROs. Therefore, the increase funded from general fund taxes is approximately $600,000 to police. Personnel costs for the fire department is slated to increase from $8.45 million to $9.59 million. Citywide personnel costs are slated to increase from $20.09 million to $22.57 million, up almost $2.5 million, which is the amount that will have to be drawn down from the 2025 carryover to fund the 2026 budget. The amount that's unbalancing the 2026 budget is that $2.5 million in negotiated salary increases. Anecdotally, personnel costs in police and fire for 2026 are now equivalent to 105% of the property tax revenue after the tax caps. When I was first elected to council in 2010, that number was 60%. If you remove the collective bargaining union pay increases, the budget is balanced. With union pay increases, it's unbalanced but funded. Unless council denies collective bargaining pay increases, it will be unbalanced. There is no place to eliminate another $2.5 million. But through unfilled positions now, we're looking at an ending balance of 2025 of over $3 million. So that's where it will come from. Originally, the 2025 budget would not have such a large ending balance, but with other changes and other reductions, we're looking at a 13% net operating balance for 2025. And you move that into 2026, we're still at 3.11%. So by statute, the mayor is required to set salaries of elected officials and city employees, which I did with no pay increases. However, mayors cannot set salaries for those represented by collective bargaining units, unions. Only the council may deny contracted union pay increases for fiscal exigency. But on the bright side, now the positive side, there are several new taxes that will flow into the city in 2026, but we cannot currently include them in the budget because they exist now only as estimates, what we think we'll get for some of the new laws activated. Until you've had them in place for a time, the DLGF uses old numbers and adjusts them up. But some of the things we've never had before, we can't use them in the 2026 budget, but we know they're coming. So a good example is the low HUD or will tax the county adopted. Some napkin math looks like we'll get about $600,000 from that. We've asked our financial advisors, because the way the county passed it, it gets really complicated with the surtax and then the fee on the others. So we're asking them to give us an amount. We should have that estimate in the coming weeks. We still do not have it as of yet today. Also, we can only use old revenue numbers for the cigarette tax. We cannot use the new numbers, which were highlighted in a news release last week. Cigarette tax revenue continues to soar following the 200% rate hike. Indiana collected an unprecedented $50 million in cigarette tax revenue in August, a 177.4% increase compared to just the $18 million in cigarette tax receipts from the same month a year ago. So they went from $18 million to $50 million in 1 month. you and I think a lot of people thought when they tripled the tax, a lot of people quit smoking, but it sounds like that's really not the case. Not many have. I don't know the formula, and I can't find it to see how that might increase that revenue of the general fund, but eventually we'll figure out what that is. So thank you for your time tonight as we hear from department heads about their 2026 budgets. Following the meetings this week, we expect to meet with Finance Committee before the budget ordinance is presented to council for its October 6th meeting. And now I'll turn it over to Tracy for her comments.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Department Heads, and the city staff for your time and contributions to the development of the 2026 proposed budget for the city of Richmond. I believe the mayor has highlighted most of the significant challenges that we have faced in the 2026 budget. As the mayor mentioned, we have several new taxes that will flow into the 2026 budget. However, we cannot include these at this time due to unconfirmed estimates. I will be happy to pass this information to the council once we have this information available. There will be an increase to the health insurance at a 6.6% rate. This rate is driven by overall increases in plan cost and claims. There will also be an increase to the dental employee buy-up plan in the amount of 5.2%. There will be no increase to the vision plan nor to the city plan for dental, the basic plan. There's no increase on that. We will continue to work with the insurance committee to potentially make changes that could lessen the cost of both the city and city employees. I am happy to answer any questions you may have before we get started. If there are any questions I am unable to address specifically this evening, I will be sure to follow up after the meeting or at the meeting tomorrow. Thank you.
So Tracy, I have a question. And just for clarity for the council, we have a 2026 funded budget, but it's currently out of balance by 2.5 million.
That's what's on the sheet? That sounds right.
$2,344,468.85. So roughly 2.5, almost.
Anybody else have any questions for Tracy and/or the mayor? Thank you. I'd like to begin by calling the clerk. Unfortunately.
Mayor and Justine, we have a very, very, very small budget. A couple of things I have questions about, but I just want to point out we only have 60 dogs and cats in the city of Richmond.
What?
That's what the income says. There's only one thing I have here that I'd like to question, and then you can do what you want with it. But I have the International Institute of Municipal Clerks and Treasurers that I really gain a lot of knowledge from, and that budget has been cut in half, and I'd like to see that increase so I can pay those bills. That's all. Any questions? That's it. Do you want
That's
to
the
do yours?
3910?
Yes.
Can you provide a little bit more detail as far as what was cut and what you'd like to restore that to?
Well, $500, because last year it was like four something, I think it was, and
Okay.
that might increase this year. It's not a big deal, but, and I could take it out of something else probably if I have to. Okay?
I think it sounds good.
Anyone
it.
have any questions for the clerk?
Mr. Chairman, is that an event that you go to, or is that just
No.
counseling during the year?
They update everybody on all of the laws.
Oh, okay.
You have webinars if you want to, all sorts of things that we interact with each other so that we know how to do our jobs.
Okay, thank you.
And you wanted to increase it to what?
500,
500?
Back to,
Back to what it was.
yeah.
Could I ask a question, Mr. Chairman? I don't have a budget book. Normally, I've been given a budget book by now to be able to follow where we are in the line items. Can I anticipate having a budget book at
We
some
haven't
point?
had budget books in about 3 years.
They just put it on a thumb drive, don't they?
Flash drive
That we
and
have the flash drive and what's on the shared drive.
Okay, I don't have a flash drive either.
we don't have a
I had
laptop.
one
so-
last year.
You will in a minute.
I do not mind if you share mine with me. You can
Thank you.
We did.
figure it out. So I have
Anything else from me?
that and then open.
Larry, do you want to do yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Feel free to use that one.
Are you finished?
Yes.
I think she's done, so we will go.
You want me to go down there or stay here?
You can stay there.
Okay.
Do you want me to plug this in? See what we got? Wow.
Are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Council's budget stayed exactly the same except for one item, and that was the contractual printing, and that increased by $300 up to $700. And the reason for that was because the new city logo will be coming out, and we'll need additional funds for business cards and letterhead. Any questions? I'd be glad to try to answer them.
What questions do we have for council? Council?
Count me out on the business cards. I never carry them.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Yes.
You guys don't get the citywide emails. We're going to replace business cards as new people come on. We're not just going to wholesale print all new business cards or envelopes. We found about 10,000 envelopes in the basement, so it'll be a while before we buy envelopes and letterhead. But as new people come on, they'll get them, and if somebody needs some, we'll definitely go to the new logo. We have it just now, this week, got it in Monet, our shared drive, so we know what the business cards can look like. And I don't think we've even thought about sending out to a vendor yet for the first ones, but I'm sure that'll happen in sometime this fall.
Okay.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call Law.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. A.J. Sickman, City Attorney.
Good evening.
Good evening.
There you go.
The only department's budget that is more complicated than my own is the clerk's office, I think. But if we buckle down, we're going to get through this just fine this evening. As you hopefully have seen, there are no significant changes to the law department's budget. We have built in the executive assistant salary under wages, so you'll see an increase there, and we have that person in place at this point, and I would expect her to continue in that role through '26. We also show insurance provision, and as you can see, we did not use all of the budgeted amount. That's because my contract allows for me to sign up for city insurance in the event that it's necessary, but fortunately, my wife continues to teach, and while she loves that job, every day that she goes in seems a little bit less likely, so I'm not sure that I won't need that at some point in the future, but I think we'll be just fine through '26. So otherwise, you can see 25 as compared to '26 is very, very similar, so I would be happy to answer any questions.
AJ, is there anything that we could do with the budget? I know sometimes ordinances get backed up, and if it's a timing thing or any kind of additional resources that can be provided?
I think the only way to expedite ordinances, I think the bigger issue is probably contracts, getting all of those churned out because there's so many departments that need those, would be either an additional attorney or funding my office as city attorney to a higher degree to allow me to work more hours per month. I mean, it's just the honest reality of it. It's sometimes can feel like a bottleneck because there is so much and we have limited staff to deal with all of the issues that come before us.
You're the fall guy, always, on the bottlenecks.
Take it.
Any questions for AJ?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
it's a question along the same lines. In my conversations with code enforcement, they tell me there's a large bottleneck with their priorities, and that's one of the reasons it takes so long to get action out of code enforcement. Same answer?
Yeah, I think so. The bottleneck for code enforcement started during the pandemic. There was a moratorium put on enforcement for those, but the unfortunate reality is when we were filing these cases, and I'm sitting in court frequently, every week, sometimes every day or every other day, you get a judgment, but it doesn't mean a whole lot because that judgment is against a person that does not have resources to satisfy the same. And it's not as though I can levy on property or bank accounts. So we can enforce those, but again, the pragmatic consideration is that sometimes it just doesn't mean a whole lot. There has to be teeth behind it. So a judgment can be hollow, but at the same time, that does not mean that we can't continue with enforcing those, and we're still in the process, and I think we're right at the tail end or the back end of getting new ordinances passed by council. And once that happens, I think it will look different, and we just kind of been waiting on that as well.
But how would that fit into the fact that we already have a bottleneck in our legal office due to the contracts, as you mentioned, et cetera?
Well, it will allow for enforcement to resume because there will be new ordinances in place. What I don't want to do at this point in time is enforce ordinance violations under our current framework, and then those people land in court at a time when we have new ordinances, and that's going to be confusing and create issues with enforcement for the court. But as far as the bottleneck is concerned, again, it's a resource issue.
Yep.
I mean, you need people. And as the mayor pointed out, we're on limited funding, and that's just the reality of being a political subdivision in the state of Indiana.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
AJ, can you actually give us an estimate of when we might have the ordinance before us to be approved?
Go ahead. I checked with Chloe recently, and we were just waiting on a couple of departments to send back their revisions, and so, I mean, I think we're very close. Most of the proposed modifications or comments have come back, and so I just want it to be a complete package before it comes to council.
This is a different topic, but that process of approval could take several weeks to months, I would think.
It's certainly possible.
I mean, if I may, Mr. Chairman, just if you delay it, I mean, it'll just simply come as an ordinance to do all in one, so it could be done in 2 meetings, but depends on how close you want to look at.
Pretty complicated.
We paid a contractor to look at every I and every T and make sure everything's lined up.
Know how
So,
many of us are willing to
And-
read the whole thing
and
again?
and I was on council when you and I were assigned sections, and we edited and
Yes,
reviewed
right.
a couple years ago, so
Yeah,
it's just a matter of,
well,
the
It
company
will
that's
come
doing
to
this,
you
doing
as a
this for a
package.
lot of companies, a lot of communities, and it takes
say
time.
we enact it and then fix it when we find that there's something wrong.
No, if there's something you don't like, but it just gets everything up to current code, really.
Any other questions for AJ? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to call forward finance.
Well, let me get it on the screen for you before I do anything. There we go.
Bring me some binoculars.
Good evening. The budget for the finance department has actually went down. We have a slight increase in salary and wages because we've had some people that have left, have come back, and it's just, we're looking for a deputy controller now. So the salaries looks like it has increased when the reality is it hasn't. It's what we need to have for 2026 to pay and fill all of our positions. Office supplies, we went down, $133.95 overall. Other services and charges, we went down, $4,192.38. We have, the only capital outlay we have is $2,000, and I put that in there for our scanners. Finance is very hard on scanners. We scan everything in as backup. Salary, payroll, payroll and benefits, AR, AP, purchasing, everything gets scanned. So the scanners we purchase takes a beating. So we always keep some funds available so we can replace them as needed. Our revenue for finance department, which includes, of course, taxes, certified shares, intergovernmentals, investments, everything of that nature has went down $533,000, mainly because of our certified shares and and taxes. And also, the property taxes are the next, and it's went up a little bit, but not a lot. Overall, it is down. So, any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Mr. Parker?
Tracy, on the 5201 alcohol gallonage?
Yes, sir.
Why do we think that's going to go up that much?
Let's see, which one is it?
5201.
Oh, the state alcohol and gallons at 29,000. That is what was estimated because there's something else in there besides.
Well, so far we got 38,900,
Yes,
and we're estimating it's going to be 114,000.
yes.
That's a big increase. That's great. I just
That is
wondered
the
why.
increase that our financial consultant has given us, telling us that's what we should expect. I'm not aware of any increases in the alcohol gallon, the tax, but that is what they have given us. And that's what the DLGF has notated for us also.
Maybe everybody's going to start drinking more.
I'm all for it right now.
What they're gonna raise.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman,
more like
It's gonna
Mr.
be
Purcell.
more taxes.
Yes.
And it's gonna make people depressed. and
Tracy?
drink.
So worried about everybody else's, I didn't prepare mine, yes.
We have a question.
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned interdepartmental charges.
Yes.
That makes up 20% of our overall budget, true?
Yes.
Okay. I have mentioned in the past, and I will reiterate, that this to me resembles a tax on our services. And what would it take to start reducing that, and what would the effects of it be?
Well, the effects, of course, would be a reduction in, equal to a reduction in revenue. Finance as a non-revenue generating department handles all of the purchasing, accounts payables, accounts receivables, and a lot of this is taken from other departments to help support those activities.
I understand. What is your total budget
The total budget for
your
General fund?
your department?
For my department is, we don't have those numbers. We don't segregate it out from the general fund. It's part of the general fund.
Okay. My point being is your office doesn't equate to 20% of the overall city's budget, I do not believe.
Chairman, if I may, that rolls into the general fund, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That supports the general fund.
And it
Yes.
pays salaries and operations.
Yes.
Even RP&L, you sign all the checks for RP&L too.
Yes. What
Thank
else would you
you.
like to know?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, those are generally accepted accounting principles to do that exact function.
Tracy, I do have just not necessarily a question, but a comment. We've spoken about this before as far as purchasing goes, and to have a more concerted effort into purchasing for the city departments kind of as a whole. We talked for specifically the IT department and being able to purchase all of our computer hardware together for lower price, or our toiletries for a lower price, instead of each individual firehouse, or the parks department, or I really feel like there's a lot of cost savings there.
Okay, using the purchasing power of the city in lieu of departments.
I do, because instead of, many, many different companies, I really feel like purchasing as one and being able to forecast for the entire 12 months we could really probably lower a lot of that cost.
We can certainly look into that. I'm sure there's going to be a few challenges, but we can certainly look into the, what it would take for us to do purchasing in that manner for the whole city. But I do agree with what you say, that it could potentially be some cost savings.
When you're buying 100,000 rolls of toilet paper instead of one pack at a time.
Yeah, instead of buying from the local office supply place, you can go straight to the manufacturer
Right.
if you're buying in bulk.
Right. Any other questions for Tracy? Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Now calling forward the Board of Works.
Tracy?
Yep, that'll be me. Give me just a second.
That's really funny.
She has to sit back down before she gets back up.
Let me get you something you can look at.
There you go.
Okay, Board of Works. Okay. We haven't had a lot of changes, but overall, we have reduced the Board of Works budget by $6,599. As you can see, under personal services, there were no changes, just some slight change, rounding issues. The supplies did not change. They remained the same as last year. Other services and charges, there were 3 increases, but overall, the budget reduced by the $6,599. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Parker.
Tracy, 3971 animal welfare contract, did we ever decide on anything on that?
The contract went before the Board of Works. It was tabled. That contract needs to be renegotiated if we continue to go with Henry County. We need to, or should, contact our local shelters to find out if we can possibly do a contract with them. That hasn't been done yet, but it's definitely in the works. The current contract is good until December 31st.
More than likely, then, next year, that price will go down?
Yes, sir. The current contract covers, I believe, 400 animals, and this year, currently, to date, we've had about 66. So there is a big variance in there. So yes, that contract does need to be renegotiated, or some other arrangements made.
Does the county also utilize the same ones we do, or do they go someplace else?
I believe they have an arrangement with Healthy Animals.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the mayor's office and police department worked with Help the Animals last year to see if they have capacity. They do not have capacity. They have the county's contract, and that's why we end up going to Henry County. There is a push, hopefully, that some people will get together and create a humane society here in Richmond, probably Wayne and Union County is what they're thinking about. And we might have an opportunity to come up with a shelter that could benefit all of us. But right now, Help would need about $1 million expansion, and neighbors have already fought back on any expansion at that location. So we're kind of stuck until either find a whole bunch of money or come up with our own humane society and partner with Union County too, possibly. So looking at all options.
So what's the likelihood that this will get done? Because I mean, 2025 was a failure, and by
Obviously.
all measures.
Yeah.
So what's the likelihood that in 26
We did change the contract for 25 and 26, that this is on a month-to-month basis. So as soon as something different becomes available, we don't have to continue with Henry County. This is just a 30-day notice, we can stop it. And they agreed to that.
Yes. And that's part of the contract, I believe.
Chairman?
Mr. Purcell?
Yeah, this is a question for the mayor. Are we currently transporting to Henry County still?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, what, 66 so far this year?
Yes, 66 so far this year.
But as he said just now, we can terminate that with 30-day notice.
If we had another place to take
We had
it.
another option.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for the Board of Works? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to Human Resources.
Good evening, Kenyatta Cox, HR Director.
Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening.
And nothing much, I'll start with the HR budget, has changed in it. I did manage to make some reduction with regard to unemployment compensation. We've been very diligent about responding to those types of claims, and so I was able to reduce that. Even from last year, I think it was up to 15. We brought it down to 10. I would like to keep it somewhere in there because I just don't know. I'm always willing to fight fight the claims that we can, but that's really the only reduction. Everything else pretty much stayed the same. Any questions on the HR budget?
Council have any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Parker?
Kenyatta, the contract services, we spent $26,000, and on a $60,000 budget, we're asking for 60 again. Do we have anything big coming up, or what?
Yes, I have that. That may not be today because even on mine, I'm looking at it shows like 35. We have a few different contracts that are involved in that. It's our background check, our screening, our pre-screening, as well as our HRS and our those two for sure are part of it, and we still have the rest of the year. I would like to keep it at that. It should be. And I'm not sure why it's showing 26.
These are 6:30 numbers.
Okay, I was going to say.
Activity at 6:30.
Yeah, sorry, that's it's more than that now.
Okay, so we have outstanding invoices then? Okay.
And you believe we'll get close to that 60 by
I
12/31?
do. I think by the end, it may be in the 50s, but 60 is safe.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'll move to my next one, which is the property and liability, the 8902. And we just received last week our renewal information for the 2026 for property and liability. We will start working on that. The goal is to have it to our insurance agency by mid-October so that we're ready for those renewal numbers. They typically reach out in December, and we meet sometime mid-December to get those numbers. I've asked if we could get those numbers sooner in light of having to come here before you guys much earlier than that, and I've just been told that it's just not possible to do that. So we're always kind of making an educated guess, if you will, as to what the next numbers will look like. This past year, for the 2025 budget, we had estimated that it would be 15% over, and it came in at 22.87 over, which was significantly more than we had budgeted. In speaking with them, they couldn't give me a good ballpark for what I was looking at this year. So Tracy and I, in preparing this, we went a lot higher. I think I probably put in about 25 to 30 just because I wasn't sure with getting the 22 last go around. I'm hoping that it's lower. And they just said, the market is what it is right now, and that they can't really say much more than that. But I'll know for sure. I'll get an indication sometime in probably late to early November. They usually will tell me if it's going to go up significantly. So that's where we're at. And so that one, it's in for a little over 1.7, which I think it was 1.3 last time, is what it ultimately ended up coming in at.
Council have any questions on the P&L portion? Okay.
Move on to the last one, which is our workers' compensation 8903 fund. And we This went up slightly. We recently changed our effective dates for this particular, for our workers' compensation. It used to run from July to July. Now it's on a 1/1, which makes it a lot easier for us to keep track of everything. And with that, it ended up, it may have looked a little different because of how it was paid out this past time, but I'm estimating it's probably going to be about $485, and they always have that administrative expense in there. I'm not certain why, Tracy, you may know why that administrative expense stays there, but.
We keep it there in case we need to transfer it to cover any overages.
Okay, so I put in for the 485 amount because that's what I anticipate it will be. It went up just roughly 14% or so last year, so I don't think it'll go up much more than something similar. They haven't told me that it's going to, and our EMOD is pretty good right now, so we're not getting our activity isn't driving it, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Are your workers' claim comps up?
Our claims are actually not up. They are, we had 57 active claims, and we had 67 last year for the total, so we're down as of this time last year, so. But I will tell you that our total cost with workers' comp was almost $300,000, but it was driven by 4 claims, one claim being almost $200,000. So for the most part, our workers' comp claims they pay out $300 or less for most of them.
What questions does council have for the workers' comp portion? Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Now is the mayor's portion.
Mr. Chairman, let her pull it up here. Okay. The biggest change you'll see is a reduction of over $483,000 in personnel expenses. With the hiring of Matt Keller last year as the Director of Public Operations Engineering, he's also spending 10 hours a week overseeing code enforcement. So all of code enforcement moves into their own fund now out of the mayor's office. And that's about it. And no pay increases for any of them or anybody in the mayor's office.
What questions does council have for the mayor's office?
And then you'll hear from code enforcement tomorrow.
Hearing none, thank you. IT.
Evening, council members.
Good evening.
Tracy Phillips, Director of Information Technology. There's no real increase to the IT budget except for I requested an increase to my overtime budget due to my network engineer. He's the only one on my team that is overtime eligible. But in order to keep, I guess, network activity or the discontinuance of service through the network, to push patches to the machines and the servers and update software, he needs to do this after hours, which he incurs the overtime doing that. And that way we can keep people working during the day. Otherwise, we would have to take down the network at times. So 2025 was a pretty busy year. Initially, I had asked for $1,000 in that overtime budget, and looks like we spent close to $3,000. So I just asked that it would be increased to $2,500 for the 2026 budget. But other than that, there's no real change.
Any questions for IT of council?
Mr. Chairman, actually, this is a question for the mayor. At redevelopment, we've talked a couple times about the tech park fund that has accumulated
Yes,
well over $1 million
Yes.
at this
2
point.
million.
That's what
Over
I
2
thought.
million right now.
And it just sits there.
and it's stagnant now because we no longer own any property in the tech park, so we're still
Right.
waiting on an answer from
Right.
DLGF or SBOA. Which one does that?
DLGF.
On how we can spend it. We know we can buy technology as he needs it for this building.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we do that.
But I wonder if we couldn't carve out a piece of that for operations as well.
I don't know. Beth has more experience with that than I do.
Right.
Because she created that part.
Well, I'm shooting in the dark. I
Long
just
time
know
ago.
we've got $2 million
Yes.
that we're not able to access. And if we can find a way to access this, it
I
would
know we
sure
can buy
help.
hardware, but we can't buy personnel, can we?
I can tell
No.
you exactly how much it is. Give me just a second. $2,291,000.
Exactly what we need.
So we have a need, we have a need to replace the roof on this building. And I made a stretch to say, if we put solar panels on the roof, does that make it technology? Because it's about $300,000. And they said, no.
Yeah.
I tried.
That's a stretch.
Yes, a stretch.
Beth, would you like to?
Say something.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yep.
On your property liability and insurance, how did you possibly save that kind of money?
The property and liability insurance is set, and Kenyatta can probably, there she is. She's back.
When all, Kenyatta took it
Yeah.
over?
Kenyatta took it over.
Okay.
Did not have anything to do with that.
Pardon me?
Yes, I had nothing to do with that.
Oh.
Anyway,
It went from 58,000 down to 29. That's a pretty good reduction.
Yeah, it's on claims, so they didn't have any claims, so it went down.
Okay, good.
I'd love to have taken credit for that.
But it was Kenyatta, okay. Thanks, Kenyatta.
I'd like to welcome Beth to the microphone to close the loop on the solar park or technology park.
Sure. The Certified Technology Park is set up by Indiana Code, and Indiana Code outlines the eligible uses for that. We currently do not have a certified technology park because we are not able to offer the programming and the services that are required by Indiana Code in order to have a certified technology park. The Indiana Department of Economic Development is working with multiple parks throughout the state that are no longer eligible for certified technology park funding. We are also, the legislature is working to create innovation districts, which are different than certified technology parks. So we may have the option to convert our certified technology park fund into an innovation district if we meet those qualifications. But at this time, the Indiana Department of Economic Development is still working through that with us and other certified tech parks. We are still able to use the funding for eligible uses through Indiana Code, but unfortunately, personnel would not be an eligible use. We can use it for hardware purposes and security purposes, which is what we have been spending it for to assist Director Phillips with his budget needs.
Any questions for Beth while she's at the podium? Thank you, Beth. Very thorough. Did you have anything else for IT?
Did not.
Okay, any questions for IT? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to call forward the street department.
Good.
In 2026, you got to fix somebody's alley.
That's sanitation.
Sanitary, okay, gotcha.
I've heard that one.
Okay, let me keep up.
You want to start with TL?
LRS,
Okay.
LRS, the 2363 hot and cold mix account added $166,500.
TL, for those playing along at home, can you tell us what LRS is?
Local roads and streets.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Sorry.
that's all right. So that's a reduction from our MVH, Motor Vehicle Highway Restricted Account. So we kind of halved it, 166,000 each, so. So that was our only really big increase in our LRS account. MVH, our 2213 repair parts account, we've got a $15,000 increase for parts and repair, just for cost increase of parts. Our 3210 telephone, we went from 8,000 to 10,000 to cover a cost increase in our telephone budget. Our 3620 repair and maintenance equipment, $10,000 to $15,000 increase for mechanics, Selking, Ford, Chevy. So, MVH restricted is pretty much our 3990 was increased to 500,000. We took that out of our LRS account.
We're on the third Excel.
Just to redo it, so. So other than that, I'll answer any questions. I think those are the major increases that I had.
What questions? TL was going through each one of these Excel sheets. We can either break this down into LRS or MVH or just in general. Mr. Parker, do you have?
Yeah. Under local road and streets on the 4490, other equipment,
Yes.
you're not going to buy anything?
Well, we've got, not in LRS as much, we've got it in motor vehicle highway.
So you took it out of this one and just transferred
Yes,
it?
transferred it to motor vehicle highway.
And what one is that then?
Hold on just a second, I'll show you.
Under motor vehicle highway, what number is that?
It'll be under the same 4490.
There it is, 4490, $600,000.
So is that the difference between what it was and what it is now?
No, it's a little more costly. We're trying to buy street sweeper.
I thought they was going to give you that one out of
I've got
redevelopment.
that out of redevelopment, yes. I just haven't had the chance.
So
to
that's
change
coming out of here then?
One of them,
And how much will that be coming out of here?
$297,000.
It's a nice reduction.
So that's one street sweeper.
297,000 out of this budget?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
The one thing I would like to mention, we have added two new funds to local road and street. Well, it's not really local road and street, but it would be under the street department, will be the wheel tax. There's two new funds that will fall under the street department in the future. And those fund numbers are, 2249 and 2250. Right now, there's nothing there because we don't have anything to put there, but they are set up and ready to roll.
When will we get our first dollar?
That I do not know.
Mr. Chairman, it should be in February. It's at the end of every month. The BMV will do a calculation and, well, they'll send a check. I don't know if it goes to the county first and then the county sends it to the city. I think that's how it will flow. So sometime in February, after the BMV reconciles their accounts every month, they'll send out checks.
And we're really not sure how the state is going to affect our MVH and LRS accounts with the wheel tax. So I don't think they've determined that yet.
Will they restrict you with what you can spend it for?
I don't think they'll restrict us. I just don't think they're going to send us the same amount of funding, is the way it's looking. So.
TL, how many miles will this pave from the 2026 budget?
Oh, I'd say about 8 to 10. Between contractual with community crossings, if we get it, and then our in-house crew. So But they've also went from 350,000 or 350 million to 100 million in the community crossings matching grant, which is all the communities in Indiana plus all the counties. So we'll all be fighting over $100 million now instead of 350 million. So.
Any other questions for TL?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Mr. Purcell.
is the community crossing still a 50/50 up to $1 million?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and how much have we put in
Well,
our side of that equation?
we've got 500,000 in the account right now. If the budget goes through the way it is proposed. So, and then I've got money coming from redevelopment if possible, so, in the TIFT area,
Redevelopment will match half that.
yeah.
Well,
We might be
be
able to come
surprised
up
at how much we can match, with the, particularly with the tip over the insulation plant. That's,
On Mansville,
that's quite
yeah.
healthy.
Good.
And so the work on 35, I know about this year, I see we were repaving.
Yeah.
That's the state, I assume.
We're paving
That's us.
Northwest Fifth and Guard Jackson,
And we're covering a portion of that with
Northwest
redevelopment
Dell.
funds out of that TIF.
yeah, out of John Mansville TIFT area.
Fantastic.
Well, you know my feeling on this, even though we're kind of in the dark about how this is going to go with the reduction in the monies available at the state level. But I hope we can maximize that match.
Yeah.
You, somebody have a question?
We always have.
Mr. Engel?
No.
No. Any other questions for TL? Thank you, TL.
Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, Parks Department.
Denise Retz, Parks Department. And I did provide for you a nice summary of my presentation this evening, and I'm happy to go over your document as well if you have questions with that. But in terms of the presentation that I will be giving, it will be in regards to what I provided you in front. The reason why I provide this is because, the report that you receive does have calculations as of 6/30, and I like for you to have year-to-date numbers as close as I can give you for what we have in our budget. So I've got you year-to-date numbers of 9/18. So that'll help Mr. Parker as he's looking through the budget and wondering what we've spent and what we can save. You can definitely look at this and see exactly what we have year-to-date spent, and we also have funds encumbered as well, so we can also give you that information as well. But in going through, just to kind of give you a synopsis of the park budget, as you can see on the top page here on the left, we have park reverting budgets that Common Council oversees. So our budget's a little different than some, where we have the Parks Fund, and then that's the 2204, and then we have under that Middle Fork Reservoir and Sports, and then we have the pool and the Richmond Senior Recreation Center. On the right, you see the non-reverting budgets that the Park Board oversees, which is Highland, our Widow Person Services, our Richmond Farmers Market, and our Park Capital account. So I wanted to kind of make sure that I highlighted that, not only for Common Council, but also for the public. I want to also go through some park positives for you, because without your support, we wouldn't have these park positives. And I'll just quickly talk about the highlights here. And with our online options for facility rentals, you see that huge increase that we've been able to have, including the total revenue year to date. In 2025, we're at $74,000. Online rental totals, we are almost surpassing what we did all of last year on online rentals. So I just want to kind of show you that. support of parks, our volunteers have increased so much. This year, we have to date 465 volunteers in our database that have volunteered to date. Back in 2021, when it was prior to our trail and service leader, we had 141 all year. So that shows you that we have increased by leaps and bounds. And in 2024, our annual volunteer base there was 794 volunteers that we had. So that helps us tremendously throughout the year. So we really appreciate that. And as of today, we had over 754 rentals for venues. So that just shows how important it is to have our rentals and that people rely on those. Our trail growth has really been a huge determining factor of why people are going to parks. And so we're very excited about that. I know a lot of you have visited our trails, and so I really appreciate that. Our pool revenue continues to be a blessing, and we welcomed 15,138 visitors to the pool with daily entries. That was up from 14,152 from last year. Grants and donations, I shared that tracking sheet with you. These do not include any funding from our restricted gorge projects, but you can see we work hard every year to get those donations from our generous donors and sponsors, and we really appreciate that. And so I wanted to kind of show you where we are year to date in 2025. I also shared with you our goal setting workshop, and all of this will come to you online, so you can access all of these links. In our senior recreation center is such a positive right now. In the past 2 years, we've added nearly 400 new members. The membership is only $25 a year, but that includes all the activities, and it has been booming over there. We've incorporated 20 new programs in the past 26 months, and we have 6 more new programs coming to bring the total new programming since July of 2023 to 32 new programs. So I've also included partnerships for you, updated information there, and a monthly newsletter just in case you want to see all of that. Park challenges. So we also have a lot of positives, but we also have some challenges that I also wanted to highlight for you. Property tax allocation coming in lower than expected was a challenge for us. Aging park areas with deferred maintenance prior to me even, that is something that the park team continues to work hard to manage, and we will keep moving forward with the funding and resources that we receive, and also continue to push forward on finding other resources that we can to maintain what we have. Finding seasonal help and filling open positions with quality people who like to work, that's always a challenge, but we work through that. Increasing fuel costs, increasing chemical prices, charges for contractual services going up, and cost of goods sold going up. Turnaround times are often unpredictable, and many things have started to be special order. So if you're not actually planning 2 weeks or 3 weeks ahead of time, things are special order. So we've run across those things as park challenges. Weather is always going to be a challenge for us because everything we do is mostly outside. So just wanted to highlight those challenges as we kind of go through this budget. So in our 1000s, any questions on those positives or challenges at all before I go through the 1000s, 2000s, and 3000s?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Engel.
So, excuse me, with the increase, a fairly sizable increase in grants and donations, any particular reason for that?
I think that people are definitely supporting the parks. We were able to get a couple really great grants that we've received in 2025, and I think that people see the need to support their park system.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, 1,000 accounts. I just wanted to highlight here, the only real difference here is the park team request, and I kind of put a 22 through 26 full-time, part-time seasonals and how that varies. So we're requesting 23 full-time people this year, which is not any different really. It doesn't fluctuate too much from 2022 to 2025. The salary increases really include adding back a much-needed Tech 2 and then also including the original grant-funded trail and service leader position with the hopes to still find a grant to fund this position. However, this time we really need to make sure to secure this position during the budget. And then our contractual obligations in 2025 through 2028. So those are the increases in the salaries. We also have the insurance provision, which I've given you kind of a running timeline of what that looks like, and the amount changed since 2020, as you can see, is a pretty hefty $167,000 hit on our budget, but obviously it's something that has to happen to make sure that we are insured. So just wanted to make sure that you see that insurance provision that we have to take on. Any questions on the 1,000s? Okay, we'll move on to the 2000s. So really there really isn't anything but red here, as you can see on most of my budget, but we do have a couple increases, and that is just on fleet repair parts and obviously chemicals. Chemicals, I have a little table here for you just to kind of see how chemicals have increased from 2020 to 2026. And, in 2020, we used to spend $11,000 in chemicals, and in 2026, we're spending $60,000. So with the splash pads and the chemical increases and the pool, we need all of that $60,000 to make those go. So I just wanted to kind of show you how it's increased through the years. And the repair and maintenance parts, those are just, and building materials, those are just things that are typical needs. And as you can see on the next page, the floral division duties and responsibilities, obviously I wanted to make sure and draw your attention to all of the things that the floral division does. In fact, they are getting ready for beautifying downtown in the depot for the fall as of right now. So they've been getting that together and just purchased a ton of mums to make sure that it's going to be gorgeous down there for the fall in both the depot and the downtown. So we really appreciate their hard work to make sure that those areas look great. But building materials, we just increased slightly, $965. As you can see, I put in some averages there in 2023 and 2024 and what we spend monthly. I also gave you a link to our facility needs and our facility needs assessment folder. So you have that, and that's kind of what we go by with our building materials. And then that's really all of our 2000 supplies. I'm happy to answer any questions on 2000 accounts.
Any questions on the 2000s?
Okay, on to the 3000s. We just have some small increases here as well. We have a lot of red, as you can see. We have some increases in some areas, just basically small areas in terms of the grant match that we typically do. I wanted to highlight that, of course. We are trying to make more of a sustainable area for Highland Lake Golf Course, so we are making sure to support that and continue to move forward with a great municipal golf course there. So that line item has increased. Contractual services, that's pretty much staying the same, but we have had a ton of contractual services lately increasing. I wanted to also draw your attention to the camera locations. We do have extra camera locations that have been added, and coming soon will be Star and Mary Scott because the Wi-Fi has been installed there. And I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that we are being proactive and making sure that our areas are as safe as they can be with the camera installations that we have. And then also on our auto locks, we do have 3 areas with auto locks, Glen Miller Playground, the Roosevelt Hill restrooms, and Middle Fork restrooms. We'll have them as we just redone those restrooms there. And so this helps us save funds in overtime by being able to auto-lock these restrooms and not have to pay overtime for that, because obviously we want to make sure that those are closed after hours, but also left open for our patrons as well. So we do have auto locks on these restrooms. Any questions on the 3,000 accounts?
Denise, Glen Miller Golf Course, former.
Yes.
Who maintains that?
Highland and also, so Highland helps maintain that as well as a couple individuals from our maintenance division.
And it's just
Mostly
a few
one.
holes? It's just a few holes that,
No, we have 6 main holes, and we have a lot of other holes that we have pretty well open at this point. So it's gotten pretty nice if you've walked there lately. Anyone?
so we're almost functioning as a second golf course?
No, not at all. We actually want to keep it maintained for walkers and also people as a kind of a training ground. Our hopes at some point would be that it is a good training facility for high schools and colleges alike that can open up free space for tea times at Highland at some point. We're not there yet, but in order to keep that even as a thought process, we need to see exactly how much it's going to take to maintain
Are
Glen
there
Miller.
cameras there?
What was
Are
that?
there cameras there?
No,
Okay,
not at this time.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Parker?
Denise, go over this grant match with me again, would you please? You've already spent your 130 that was designated as your 25 budget, correct?
So if we go, there's a couple numbers that are just a little off on my report, so I'll take you back to the detail report that you have. And we transfer all of the grant match at once.
First of the year.
Pardon me?
First of the year, the grant match funds are transferred. That's why it's,
That's why the numbers aren't the same? Okay, all
Does
right.
that make sense? Okay.
All right, I just noticed that there,
the 130,000 was transferred in January to the golf course.
Widow Person Services and Richmond Farmers Market. Those are the 3.
And then
Alright.
she's increased it to the 195
I see
for
that.
2026.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the 3,000s?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Engel?
do we have cameras at Veterans Park?
Yes,
Okay. And at Middle Fork?
4 of them.
4 of them?
Page 8 lists all the cameras.
Thank you, Gary.
What?
Page 8 lists all the cameras.
Didn't get that far. So the other question is, the first tee program is using Glen Miller
Correct.
Golf
Yes,
Course?
they use it from May until the end of August.
They don't pay to use it, right?
Yes, they do.
Oh, they do? Oh, good.
They help, they do a donation to help offset.
Okay.
Denise, were they active this year?
Good.
Yes,
Yeah.
very
Oh, yeah.
active.
Really?
Some out
Yes,
there.
they did a wonderful job.
They're out there.
I want to say they had 120.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess I didn't get by there in the mornings.
Oh, yeah.
They did a really good job.
Good.
Great program.
Esther was the coach, one of the main people that helped, and she did a great job.
Good.
And a lot of volunteers. It took a lot of volunteers, but they did a great job. And so now to the 4,000s. You will see that there are no 4,000s. Unfortunately, we were not able to ask for any capitals at this time. Any questions on that?
Any questions on Denise's 4,000s?
Well, and just to kind of talk through that, in 2025, we were blessed to be able to ask for a lot of capitals. We received a ton of capitals, and we are very thankful for that and for your support for that. And I did kind of highlight those. In 2025, we were able to do 3 mowers, a pole barn, a scissor lift, and so that's a lot more than we've had in a long time. So I'm very thankful for 2025 and our capitals. So I'll take 2026. 2026 was supposed to be a year of really highlighting our facility needs. And so we do have a lot of needs for our facilities. And so I did indicate a facility needs plan here that we really need to start and really hone into the facilities and the repairs that are necessary. We have done and conducted a facility needs plan and went around and assessed all of our facilities. And so I kind of talked through that at my last budget presentation with the council members that were there. So I think you're well aware of the needs of the Parks Department, and I do appreciate that you are aware of that. But I did also want to make sure and highlight some other things in this report. I did want to make sure you realize the park bonds, the year, the amount, and the length that we've done in years past, because I know a lot of people ask about that. I also wanted to highlight some park comprehensive master plan targets. So I talked a little bit about what the survey meant in the comprehensive plan and how we've streamlined. We've already worked through that in some of our park projects, and then what that direct impact is. And then the non-reverting accounts, I just gave you some stats here about Highland. And, we're doing really great with 15 to 17,000 rounds of golf, 24 outings, 100 members. We had a great new weekday membership, and we sold 24 of those this year. We host Northeastern National Trail, Centerville, and middle schools. We're home to IU East, boys and girls, and we also conducted their Boys and Girls Invitational. So there's all kinds of things happening there. We had over 40 golf matches played. We have a lot of regular leagues that happen. We do have some challenges, and I also put those in there for you to review. And then I highlighted a ton of market amazing numbers here for you, because you really need to know how amazing the market is and what it's doing for our community. And it highlights how it's grown here so that you can be able to advocate for the market and talk about the market. I've also given you information about the Whitewater Gorge activation projects, and I know I get a lot of questions from the public, and I know you do too, about the Weir Dam removal and access to water, and about this project and what it's doing. So I've got the Gorge Lookbook here that's going to be linked along with why we took out the Weir Dam, what that does, how it does increase fishing. And so there's some good information here for you in case you do get questions. It's kind of Q&As for you to review. And then our Gorge website will be linked here for the project, so you can be able to access that. So I also wanted to just highlight really quick about Glen Miller. There's been a lot of talk about Glen Miller. It's one of our flagship parks. It's a regional park. And I want to kind of tell you and give you just a sneak peek that we're going to be doing a Glen Miller improvement plan hopefully soon. That's kind of our next step forward. And, I think that the community's spoken. They want to see Glen Miller be the best it can be. And I'd like to help them make that happen. That's our job. And so the community will be involved in that. And so I wanted to make sure I provided the Glen Miller improvement projects here. And then a recent Facebook post with some misinformation. Obviously, Facebook doesn't do that, do they? But yes, some misinformation, but recent community concerns about Glen Miller. And I think that if you haven't read it yet, that you should. I think Glen Miller has the potential to be one of the best regional parks around, and so we can really help with that. And so that's the goal moving forward. And so I wanted to make sure that you all are on board and understand what's coming down the pike. And if I can answer any questions or be of any assistance, please let me know.
Questions does council have for Denise in the Parks Department?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Parker.
Denise, I'd like to talk to you about some of these 5,000 accounts. For an example, the 5090, the user fee on the boat rental.
Uh-huh.
That's $10 and $5. Is that the way that goes?
Are you talking about the launches?
The rental?
Uh-huh. That is,
The launch fee is different.
yeah, hold on 2 seconds. So that is,
That, according to this activity, was $739.35, which that's, I'm sure that's an error in there, but
so the $739 boat rental?
yeah.
Also,
That was from June 30th.
Yeah,
Still have
6:30 numbers.
Warmest months to come in.
Yeah, but it can't be 35 cents, so. I mean, there's no big deal on that, but don't we charge $10 for the first hour and $5 for each additional hour?
Emma's saying that it separates the tax.
I can't understand you, I'm sorry.
It separates the tax.
Oh, you charge tax on top of that?
Well, it's factored into the total,
If they're charging $25, the tax is included in that
included in
25.
the full cost. And so when the system, when it separates it into the different accounts, because we have the tax account and then or the tax GL number, and then the fee, it splits it. So that's why it looks like there's an odd change number, because by the time it's done splitting it,
I still don't understand, I'm sorry. How much do we charge to rent the rowboat?
Okay, the rowboat for the first hour is $10.
And then $5 for each additional,
Correct.
okay?
That includes tax.
How can it come up to be
The
$739?
$10 includes the tax.
Okay,
So when we put it in our system, we have to pull the tax amount out.
oh, you take the taxes out?
Yes, because we have to put it to a separate general ledger code so we can pay the state.
We still have to pay the sales tax.
We have to pay, we have to
Oh, yeah.
charge
Oh, yeah.
tax on that?
Oh, yeah.
On the rental?
We pay sales tax. That is included in there, and the $10, then we pay the sales tax for everything that we charge, any service we charge. We're paying sales tax, just at Highland, just like at Highland, just like at Middle Fork, just like at the pool. We still pay sales tax.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is that an accurate figure? Approximately?
No.
as of then, it would have been.
As of 6:30, it would have been, and this might have been lagged as well, it could have been at the beginning of June.
Denise,
So
do
we
you have
opened
the
it-
September number? Or the August?
I just think we can make more money off of it if we charge less.
Right, we did lower it, and we're not raising it in 2026 either. Because of that, we only had 15 docks that were rented. And, I think that what we see is that more people want to rent the boats on the weekends rather than the weekdays. We'd like to see more people renting the boats, but, it's a good price. I mean, it's definitely cheaper than a lot of other places we reviewed, other areas and what they cost, and that's where we came up with those prices.
So what is the price now then during the week? Still 10 and 5?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes, but we did not, what I'm saying is, for these areas, we did not increase any rates. We increased rates across the board on other areas. So we didn't increase Middle Fork, we didn't increase dock rentals, because we want them to, continue to increase. In fact, we did another promotion. We do promotions a lot, and that gets a couple here and there, but,
Well, every time I've been out there, those boats are just sitting there, and I'd reduce the price and rent them out. But that's
Are you there on the weekdays?
Yes, I am, unfortunately.
Yeah. So on the weekends, they are rented a lot more than the weekdays. It's typical, I think families go out on the weekends to rent those. We have had school groups or Girl Scout groups come out and rent them as, group activities, things like
We only
that.
have two rowboats, right?
There's 2 rowboats, but we have 4 paddle boats.
Yeah, and then the canoes
And the canoes and kayaks.
and the kayaks. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Any other questions?
Fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions for Denise in the Parks Department?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that concludes our presentations for this evening. Are there any other items to discuss, bring up before tomorrow's meeting, which will start at 6:30 PM, same place?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
There are bottles of water and snacks in the law conference room. Some people found them earlier. I didn't get here in time to tell you that, so they'll be there again tomorrow. Unless somebody wants food. Nobody's asked for food since we're starting later. There's just different snacks and water.
Thank you.
I'm going home and have my dinner.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.